Most people lose money in real estate before they even buy their first property. Not because the market turned against them or they got unlucky, but because they made completely avoidable mistakes. I've made several of these myself. Today, I'm sharing the 5 most expensive ones. Mistakes that have cost beginners 10, 20, even $50,000. So you can skip the tuition I already paid. Mistake number 1, and this is the big one, is not running the numbers properly. Too many beginners buy a property because it feels like a good deal. The neighborhood is nice, the kitchen looks great, and their agent says it'll rent easily. But none of that matters if the math doesn't work. You need to calculate your net operating income. That's your rental income minus all operating expenses except the mortgage. Then you subtract your mortgage payment. What's left is your cash flow. If that number is negative or barely positive, walk away. A property that costs you money every month isn't an investment. It's a second job you pay to have. Mistake number 2 is underestimating repair costs. This is the one that nearly got me personally. You get a contractor who says the renovation will cost $30,000. 6 months later, it's 55. Here's what I learned. Always get at least 3 quotes. Then take the highest one and add 20% as a buffer. Things hidden inside walls that you can't see during a walkthrough, electrical, plumbing, foundation issues, they're the budget killers. Pay for your own inspector who works for you, not for the person trying to sell the house. Mistake number 3, and this one hurts the most because it's entirely preventable, is bad tenant screening. A bad tenant can cost you thousands in unpaid rent, legal fees, and property damage. I know someone who had a tenant stop paying rent on month 2, and it took 8 months to evict them. That's 10 months of zero income plus thousands in damage repairs. Run credit checks, verify employment, call previous landlords, not just the current one, because they might just want the tenant gone. Call the landlord before that one. Take the time to screen properly, because the cost of rushing is way higher than the cost of a vacancy. Mistake number 4 is operating without a reserve fund. Every property will have unexpected expenses. The water heater will die, the roof will leak, or a tenant will move out and you'll need to cover the mortgage while you find the next one. If you're spending every dollar of cash flow as it comes in, you're one emergency away from disaster. The rule I follow now: keep at least 6 months of expenses per property sitting in a separate account. That's mortgage, taxes, insurance, and a buffer for repairs. It feels like dead money until the day something breaks. On that day, it's the difference between handling a problem and panicking. Mistake number 5, and this is the most controversial one, is buying primarily for appreciation. A lot of beginners buy a property that loses money every month, telling themselves the value will go up and they'll sell for a profit later. That's not investing. That's speculating. Appreciation is the bonus, not the strategy. You should buy properties that cash flow from day one. Everything else is a gamble on the market, and the market doesn't care about your financial goals. If the numbers don't work without appreciation, they don't work. So there they are, 5 mistakes that have cost beginners more money than they'd like to admit. Not running the numbers, underestimating repairs, bad tenant screening, no reserve fund, and buying for appreciation. If you can avoid these 5, you're already ahead of probably 90% of new investors. Drop a comment if you've made any of these, or if there's a mistake I missed. Subscribe for more real estate investing breakdowns with real numbers and zero hype. See you in the next one.